All right, good morning, everybody. Thank you for being with us. We're honored to have our Lieutenant Governor with us today as we give you some details about a 4-day operation that we've been working here in Brevard County, as well as some of Central Florida. The operation is one-way ticket, and it is about traffic enforcement, known criminal alien locations, worksite enforcement, and I can tell you that when you look at what local, state, and federal partnerships look like, this is a shining example of it. This is all of us working together for the same mission of keeping our citizens safe, our communities safe, and certainly enforcing law and order here in our communities and our country. I'm going to ask our Lieutenant Governor, Jay Collins, to come up and share some specific details about the operation, but I will tell you that this has been a very active and fluid operation. It is still ongoing. Our teams are still working, and this has been a collection of Border Patrol, the Brevard County Sheriff's Office, ICE, and FHP that have all worked together as well as with some of our other partners. But this has been an exciting operation, and I think you're going to be impressed with the numbers you're going to hear. So with that, our Lieutenant Governor, Jay Collins.
You know, what you saw today was incredible. It's federal, state, and local assets working together. That's what the American people expect. They want to see our sheriff's offices, our local community, working with our state, working with our federal government. You know, this isn't a Democratic issue, it's not a Republican issue, it is an American issue. The American people have been incredibly clear. They want illegal immigration taken care of. So I want to thank President Trump, 1, for leading, 2, for listening to the will of the people. And I want to thank Governor Ron DeSantis for all of his hard work and his dedication in stepping forward and making sure that Florida leads in this process. Our approach to the 287G agreement is unique. It has been functional and dynamic, and I think it leads the way. And you'll hear more about that as we go through. Under Governor DeSantis, no state has done more in illegal immigration enforcement under his watch. Florida has been on the forefront of this fight for quite some time. In 2021, Florida initiated a state of emergency to deal with Biden's border crisis. It bolstered law enforcement and state guard units across the state and across our country. In 22, Florida started the illegal immigrant transport program. Florida stood up for American workers by signing the mandatory E-Verify bill into law. And despite the protests from many groups and activists in the media who predicted that would be an economic downfall of our state, it hasn't happened. We are firing on all cylinders. We've required hospitals to collect and report healthcare costs for illegal immigrants so the public could know the true cost of our open borders on healthcare systems. We have secured our elections from attempts to illegally infiltrate by cracking down on voting crimes. We recently saw completely avoidable tragedies right here in Florida. I actually had to go to California and bring a person back because he had killed 3 people right here in the state of Florida. What we want people to know is we take this serious. Florida will lead from the front. And I want our Floridians, our citizens, our people, our communities, our families to know that Florida cares about your well-being, we care about the rule of law, and we stand with our men and women in law enforcement. We have launched a full crackdown to hold illegal aliens accountable for operating large semi-trucks without being able to read our road signs, and other actors involved accountable to keep Floridians safe on the road, directly because of that incident. Our FHP is enforcing the federal English requirement for commercial truck drivers, again, because of that incident. More than 170 commercial vehicle enforcement troopers are now actively conducting roadside inspections across the state. We saw a problem and we're fixing a problem because that is what we do here in Florida. So drivers who cannot meet the required English language standards are now being placed out of service immediately on this spot. We will not have more people's lives taken because they cannot read the road signs. They do not follow the laws of our nation and our state, and they should not be out there. So Florida continues to lay the groundwork for maximum participation alongside our federal, state, and local partners to do everything we can to combat illegal immigration. We have more 287G federal agreements and deportations than any other state in the nation. We're butting up against 6,000 right now from the state of Florida. Earlier this year, Governor DeSantis directed the Florida Highway Patrol, the Florida Department of Law Enforcement, the Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission, and the Florida State Guard to enter into and fulfill these agreements with ICE to execute functions of immigrant enforcement within the state. We want to thank our ICE colleagues for their dedication to this mission, and we stand beside them. As a result, Florida continues to put more enforcement wins on the board than any other state in the nation. Following our state's leadership, all 67 counties are now actively working this. Our state troopers and law enforcement are conducting immigrant enforcement stops on our roads every single day. Every mile of roadway in the great state of Florida is being patrolled. So in partnership with ICE and the U.S. Coast Guard, we launched deportation flights from Tallahassee, an operation that reflects our expanding coordination. Guys, we're going to continue to innovate. We're going to continue to solve problems. If we see a gap, we're going to fix it, and we're going to put things on the board. So let's talk a little bit about Alligator Alcatraz and Deportation Depot. You know, a few months ago, we stood up one-stop shop for all illegal aliens in Deportation, South Florida, Alligator Alcatraz. And in just 8 days, we got that thing up and running. So I want to give a shout out to the Florida Department of Emergency Management and their hard work. Those guys are amazing in setting that up and getting the facility moving. Alligator Alcatraz is on a pre-existing airfield surrounded by the Florida Everglades. It has a massive 2-mile runway that would allow any federal military aircraft to transport illegal aliens directly out of country. We recently saw a leftist federal judge order that we should shut down Alligator Alcatraz. Now, we knew that was going to happen. That is the thing that has happened time and time again. That is their ploy. And we knew that we would win on appeal. And as is always the case, we know the media would be out there attacking our operations, attacking what we do. But we knew we would be right, and the media was going to be wrong on this. The leftist judge has been overturned. Alligator Alcatraz is up, as is Deportation Depot. And we're only going to continue to ramp up from here. We also announced that Florida was expanding our illegal immigration enforcement efforts again by opening a new immigration, potentially in the future, something up in the Panhandle. The Lake City Airport, which is only 15 miles away from our current Deportation Depot, makes that second one a pretty quick one-stop shop to do amazing things for our state. So Alligator Alcatraz and Deportation Depot are up and running, and if necessary, we will bring more online as time comes. So let's talk about today. I want to highlight the assets we have on the ground. You know, currently in Florida, in talking to our Border Patrol colleagues, there are 1.1 million criminal aliens. Let's say that one more time. 1.1 million criminal aliens in the state. People that we know were released here at some point in the past. It's a lot of people. Currently working with us from the federal side, we have our ICE partners, our Border Patrol. From the state, we have FHP, ABT, DAX, and our Department of Corrections. And of course, locally, we have Sheriff Wayne Ivey in the Brevard County Sheriff's Office. We also have our National Guard assisting with some of the transportation. I want to thank everybody who's involved. You know, all the best things we learned sometimes seem like they were in kindergarten, so teamwork makes the dream work, right? When we work together, we solve problems and keep our community safe. So today, we wanted to announce a successful operation led by the Florida Highway Patrol in coordination with our state and federal partners. 354 people who are illegal in our state have been found and will be deported out of our country, back to where they came from. 354. That is significant over 4 days. While other states watch and react, Florida will lead. Our commitment to efficiency and accountability is why Florida remains a national model, and this operation sends a clear and uncompromising message. Florida will not tolerate lawlessness within our borders. We will continue to deploy every available resource to identify, apprehend, and remove those who seek to exploit our state and endanger our people.
You heard the number 354, 350 plus. Others have been taken in since that number was given out. What I will tell you is that our goal was to create a model for other agencies across the state of Florida to utilize, but also other states across the country to utilize. Governor DeSantis has made illegal immigration, combating it, a priority. And I will tell you that if you went back just a short time ago, you wouldn't see local and state partners working with the feds on immigration issues. It wasn't allowed, but President Trump put it into play where we could all through the 287G program be partners, have the results like you see today. And I think you're going to see these operations continue. You heard a big number that was put out by the Lieutenant Governor about how many are actually in the state of Florida. that came into our country illegally, and our teams are going to continue to work together to make sure that we're keeping our community safe. And I get it. I know there are those out there that don't agree with this, but even they have to agree that if you come into our country without permission, if you come into our country illegally, you broke the law. And we are a nation of law and order. And as you guys very well know, in Brevard County, we are definitely a county of law and order. So we are going to do our jobs. Our teams are going to put those that came to our country illegally in the hands of our federal partners, and we are going to continue to work together to do it.